Welcome back, YouTubers, to another TNA Impact Wrestling review with us, the British Fist.
Ka-ching.
Ka-ching indeed. I am Mr. Parkin, wearing another V-neck for you guys, as I usually do, and this guy's sitting next to me. It's NJ!
What's up?
The entertainment and draw of the British Fist, whereas I am just the mere CM Punk. But anyway, subscribe above, like this video, and comment your thoughts on this TNA Impact Wrestling show down in that comment section below.
Make sure you contact us in the link in the description box below.
Yes, indeed. And before we go on to this video, I just want to make a little note here. Go check out TNA Swerve. They've done a very good interview with OVW's Jamin Olivencia. If you know, it's a very interesting interview. Go check it out. I'll leave a link in the description box as well. It's a good interview with an actual TNA OVW developmental wrestler.
And it's a big thing for TNA Swerve to have this interview. So check out, give them your feedback,
which we're part of as well. So they put our videos on there. So thank you, TNA Swerve. Anyway, so we were back in the Impact Zone today. Which is a bit unfortunate, especially after those UK shows. After a somewhat, would you say, disappointing against all odds, we were kind of hoping that they would follow on very well, especially with the news that Russo has left the writing staff. What a great way to open this show, the fact that Russo had gone out of the writing team.
The thing about this is two things. Number one, we're following it on from the pay-per-view, so obviously the main thing about this is obviously the outcome of the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Move on to the next steps, leading on to the next pay-per-view. So that's what we're expecting on. And the fact that Russo's gone, we can now concentrate on the writing a bit more better than what he could offer.
Definitely so. We'll move on to the show. Open up with Bobby Roode, typical Bobby Roode opener. He wants Chrissy Hemming to reintroduce him because he didn't like it the first time. I bet he got that idea off Bully Ray, didn't he?
Yeah, he's like a role model.
Yeah, but he's not a vegan. Talks about retaining his world title and Sting having to count the win and how good that felt, that Sting couldn't get the job done. You know, I like this opener, but did you notice how much focus they put on Sting and Roode?
Again, because of the end of the pay-per-view, I guess they would concentrate on that. Obviously, they tease something at the pay-per-view, so why not continue to tease it, leading on to whatever's going to happen between those two later on.
Yeah. I maybe would have liked it if Hardy was involved in this segment, just because Sting came out, said that his anger got him involved into the match, and then made a no DQ, no countout match between Jeff Hardy and Bobby Roode. You know, the match after the fucking opener. So we got a very fast start to the show, didn't we? We got the opening segment, the title match announced. I wish Jeff Hardy would have been in that segment, but I can't complain about it too much. It was quick to the point. It got us a match announced and shit.
In my opinion, the right people opened, because obviously the result of the pay-per-view, they opened up the show, they got their point across, and obviously they got in each other's place, made this match, and Sting did his whole laughing thing and gave us the match that obviously was expected after that. Sting hit Jeff Hardy leading on to this match, give Roode his match against Jeff Hardy. And,
you should always follow up the pay-per-view with what ended it, and TNA did that well. And they set up a Jeff Hardy-Bobby Roode match in a no DQ, no count-out match for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Jesus Christ, I didn't expect this to happen so soon.
No, the fact they're getting this out of the way, probably so Jeff can go on, probably branch on to other things, which we'll get into a bit later.
Yes, so it was a no DQ match. The match was really good, wasn't it? I really enjoyed this match. It went 12.5 minutes, and really, it was good to watch. They didn't use too much weapons, but they did a lot of outside the ring stuff, so it was good.
Well, with these two, the way they performed in this, I really, really like this match. For an opener to get the show going, they really kicked off well, and this really gave me a really good feeling. All those spots with the Jeff Hardy moves, the Bobby Roode doing his techniques and his cheating stuff in the match to make him look strong. I really like how this match went. I think it was a really good match for these two. Yeah,
I mean, I do have a small issue. It's not too much of an issue. I do have a bit of an issue with the fact that we got a no DQ match straight after the pay-per-view has just happened, but it did follow on from it quite well, and it would give a new viewer a lack of incentive to buy the pay-per-view, but at the same time, TNA focus more on their TV shows, and we're just going to have to accept that, really, aren't we? But a really nice, fast way to start off the show. We had the angle interference, which led to Bobby Roode winning the match, so I imagine they're probably going to do a Jeff Hardy Kurt Angle feud going into Victory Road or Lockdown, maybe. It was an interesting way to end.
Well, this way, obviously, the way it was going, again, with the opener, you saw that
Kurt Angle.
No, with Bobby Roode weren't really into this match. He weren't really wanting it, even though it was on his side, his fairness.
Damn it!
No DQ. He was really upset. But the fact that, obviously, Angle interfered and gave Bobby Roode his win and that, it was a different way of finishing. And obviously, it's leading on to Angle and Hardy. But I really thought it was going to be Bully Ray and Hardy. But again, they went down different routes. So I look forward to seeing the match between Angle and Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, what you'd expect to be the main event. I guess TNA did this so they could get their build to Victory Road and Lockdown going really fast and to get people interested in the show, and it did that with me. So
I think so.
After the match, you had an interview with Bobby Roode, also talking about retaining his title and Sting setting him roadblocks, etc. Then you have Sting coming in saying that he cheated Jeff Hardy again, and later he's going to determine a #1 contender. And he announced later that it would be between Storm and Bully Ray.
The way that match was made, I liked it because it flowed. It gave us a match that we wanted to see. They're concentrating on a build to the next pay-per-view. And the fact you got these two wrestlers, the two wrestlers that I think really deserved this shot, going for the championship, #1 contender, I really liked it. I thought it was a good way to get the match set up.
Yeah, and it was a logical flow as well. You just determined your title win, and now you're trying to determine a #1 contender as well. So that bit of the show did flow well. And we got the opening 45 minutes were the main event. So that got a lot of time, which is really what it should have, because it is the main event, the main draw of TNA. So we then get an twice throughout the night, we got Eric Young and ODB stuff, because it's Valentine's Day, and we really didn't care. But they did a very good job of following on from Against All Odds with the whole Jesse Sorensen thing, didn't they? They had a nice video package with Borash doing the commentary. I kind of liked the way, it was a nice touch to the show. I thought that was good.
Well, the way that they went on speaking about Josie Sorensen's injury, and they gave him that little tribute part by explaining how it happened and how he's recovering. It was really good to see, because obviously people want to follow on from that. They want to know what's happening to him. And I just really give a thumbs up for adding a little touch. Yeah,
it turns out he's damaged his C1 vertebrae, but he is okay. Apparently, he's getting better. So from British Fist and of course from TNA Swerve as well, they've done it too. Best of wishes to you, Jesse Sorensen. We hope to see you back soon in the X Division. And we followed that up with an X Division match. Yay, Zima Ion and Alcinares versus Alex Shelley and Shannon Moore in tag action. It looks like Shannon Moore has replaced Jesse Sorensen in that sort of X Division sort of, job, other team role, the other face role. So you had the #1 contender and the champ on the same team, and they were trying to outshine each other. You had Austin Aries doing his usual stick, and then with Zima Ion trying to outdo each other. I thought that was pretty entertaining.
Again, the way they've done it because of the injury happened at the pay-per-view, they had to go heel against heel. So the fact that they're trying to outdo each other is making the match look okay. Yes. Obviously, you're having two guys who want to be at the top of their game against each other. But again, it's a match that could work out, but it's heel versus heel, so we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, they probably had to change the plans at the last minute. So they were stiff tagging each other. And the interaction between them two was very good. The match went about 4 minutes. It was good X Division action. I think it could have gone on. I always think these matches could go on at least 5 minutes, but I was happy with what I got. Zima Ion got the pin on Alex Shelley.
Well, with 4 minutes, again, after the good length opener and then this, I'm kind of thinking that for an X Division, something that obviously it's going to lead to feuds and ideas. It could have got with more time. And me personally, Shelley's just returned, and when he got the, I know it's only a roll-up, so it's not
Shannon
too
Moore should have
damaging,
got the pin.
but in my opinion, it should have been Shannon Moore, because Shannon Moore is not someone that's going to really do great, and like Shelley. So in my opinion, the ending was not that great.
Yeah, Shannon Moore should have really been the one to eat the pin. But Zima Ion is the #1 contender, so that at least they're trying to make him look strong. That's all I can say. Especially after that pay-per-view match, it really didn't make him look strong. So that's all I can say about that one. Our main event, 10 Knockouts Battle Royal. The knockouts do draw ratings, and they did draw the highest ratings in the UK show, Go-Home show. So I'm not surprised this was our main event. They do draw ratings. You had a 10 Knockouts Battle Royal to determine the #1 contendership to the Knockouts Championship. Why did they give? We found out later on why they gave Madison Rayne mic time, didn't we? But you had Madison Rayne sitting with Gail Kim. The Battle Royal went about 6.5 minutes. Decent time for a Battle Royal, I guess. Last three were Angelina, Velvet, and Sarita, and I was really thinking at that point, Velvet Sky's going to win. Oh, God. It all seemed like it was set up for Velvet Sky to win until the ending.
Well, the way I look at it, the ending, in my opinion, Sarita, I really didn't think she would last. I thought we'd have had bigger knockouts.
She hasn't been on TV very often, has she?
Yeah, that's the point. And Angelina and Velvet, they're two that I could have seen being the final two, but for some reason it came down to Velvet and Sarita being the final two, and I just really did not like that. When I saw that, I just thought, ooh, not good.
Well, they did have they had like Winter go out early, Mickey James, Tara. I mean, Sarita is a good worker, don't get me wrong, I know she's a good worker. But it all seemed like it was leading to Velvet winning, and she did win, and then Madison Rayne comes in and wins. God. They did it well, the whole double crossing thing, but why are they doing it Madison Rayne versus Gail Kim? I don't understand.
Gail Kim was quite shocked at this and thinking, really, why is her brain turning on her? But again, it's a different knockout going for the title, but it's still a knockout that we're not fan of. A knockout that's not actually up there being one of the best knockouts that make big, huge matches. So hopefully they'll get this knockout match done over with. Gail Kim will retain and just move on from that.
Yeah, it's not a decent battle royal, but just not very pleased with the outcome. The way they did it was good, I guess, as a double cross, but Madison Rayne is the number one contender to Gail Kim. I don't know where they're going with this one.
I personally weren't a fan of the battle royal. It had all the knockouts there, but it just didn't do it for me. I didn't like it.
We had a backstage interview with the new tag champions. They didn't get any in-ring time, but at least TNA, again, they followed up on this well. They followed up on most things on this show from Against All Odds. They got an interview with the new tag champs. Magnus, again, shines with the mic. And we found out that there's going to be a rematch next week on Impact. So we got something to look forward to next week. TNA hyping up next week's show.
That's a positive. And also, these two on mic, again, I know Matt Morgan and Crimson were away, but having these two, the new tag champs, having their say, it definitely gave them the hype that they need of being the new champs and ready for next week. So I really like this segment. Yeah,
new tag champs getting some TV time there. Little bit ashamed that it wasn't in ring, but I'm happy with what it's leading to next week. We then had the Bischoff promo when we had a video package of the Against All Odds match between Garrett and Gunner, basically emphasising Garrett fighting through the pain and Hogan being there and everything. The segment, however, I mean, I don't like these segments, but it was short and to the point. I can't complain about that.
And all I can say is, well done, Garrett.
What with your imaginary champagne glass?
Yes, because Garrett, again...
Well done, Garrett, don't you mean
well done? I meant Garrett.
Oh, okay.
When it comes to this match, he did try and put on a good fight, but at the end, the right man won, and all I can say is, again, this was needed because it followed up the pay-per-view, but... Again, I'm glad that Garrett didn't make an appearance, so well done him. Yeah,
he's not on TV. Well, he's going to be injured now, I guess, so they're going to build up like that. But at least it was short, to the point. Bischoff gloats a little bit with Gunner, Flair, and Bischoff and the lovely Chelsea. And the crowd was silent, but, you know, it was short and to the point. So it was a good segment in that sense that they didn't make it go on too long. It was just nice and short, and that was better because we don't really care too much about this thing.
No, we didn't.
Okay, what we thought was going to be the main event, James Storm versus Bully Ray. Before we go on to this, I just want to say, the timing of this show and the flow, it flowed well, this show, didn't it? Did you think?
The way it was going, again, it had all the right things going at the right time. The segments that we thought were going to be long and boring were actually quick and short, so it led straight up to the main event part, so I was really liking how the show was going.
And I think, I echo MJ's thoughts there, they did get a lot done on this show, didn't they? Number one contender, title winner. They got that main event for Lockdown announced later on. So they did manage to get a lot done tonight. James Storm versus Bully Ray in a number one contendership match. Bully Ray is just awesome, isn't he? Just the way he pulled the boot off Storm and focused on the leg. That was some real good shit.
Well, you had a backstage interview with Bully Ray. He gets great on mic. It led to this. The way he was in this match really built up Bully Ray to look strong. And again, overall, he's just a great heel. And for him to be in the main event with Storm was just a great match.
Well, what we thought was the main event. But the crowd were definitely into this match. It definitely helps that when in TNA they have a heel in Bully Ray that gets a lot of heat. And that helps a guy like James Storm to get him all over. And the crowd were into this match. You know, Bully Ray worked the leg. James Storm had no boot on. That was quite a different way of doing the match. James Storm not having his boot and Bully Ray working the leg.
And the thing is, it would have protected him from getting a super kick, but sadly...
James Storm used the other leg. I will say this though, the match was going along fine. It went about 8 minutes. The match seemed to end a little bit out of nowhere, in my opinion, and probably should have got a little bit more time, especially for a number one contendership match, which we would find out later would be for the main event at Lockdown. So I think it probably should have got a bit more time, but after the match we did realise where that time was going, and that was to do that whole thing with Bully Ray and Brandon Jacobs. I don't know too much about American football, but I know he was part of the Super Bowl winning team, so I guess TNA are using him to try and get some mainstream media attention. The match was good. This followed on from it. Okay, it's just that I think with number one contendership match, it's for Lockdown. You just want to concentrate on that rather than the whole Brandon Jacobs stuff, in my opinion.
The match flowed on to this. Again, as Dan said, the end was rushed. It rushed to this. And this part, again, it's given Bully Ray something to do, but it's just, I don't really like how this was going. Yeah, you get Bully Ray being dominant and speaking his mind again, but I just don't like how it went, and I don't know. It's just not really what I want to see from Buddy Ray.
You get Buddy Ray getting in Jacob's face. It looks like they're going to be running an angle with this for 2 episodes, this and the next episode. While I think that a guy like Buddy Ray, who could be a top heel in TNA with the work he's doing right now, him getting involved with a celebrity isn't the best way of going, but it's only for 2 episodes. So I'm going to try and just accept it and see what they have for Buddy Ray afterwards, after this.
That's what I can hope for, because at the minute, the way this is going, I'm not liking it. I really, you might think he's a great guy, this Jacobs.
We don't do American football. So.
No, and also, the way I see it, this is a wrestling business, and you should be concentrating on just better stuff for the wrestlers, and I don't think this is really going to do much for Buddy Ray, so...
But it will get media attention, as he did win the Super Bowl. So that's what I think that's what they're trying to do here. But there we go. We'll move on. After the match, you had that old thing with Storm and Jacobs backstage. I like what TNA are doing here. They're flowing it on from the match. You're getting reaction, and then you get the whole thing with Jacobs is going to be there next week to face Bully Ray possibly. So again, hyping up something for next week, I imagine.
Even though, in my opinion, this Jacob bit did get a bit of time, I just really thought, okay, if you're not going to finish here, you should have made this shorter and just did a celebration. But the fact they went on to do another segment, it just kind of threw me a bit.
They did throw us with this main event, didn't they? They had Sting in the main event. They had Sting in the ring with no entrance, calling out Bobby Roode, and he announces Storm versus Roode Lockdown. Now, I didn't like this being the main event, but the fact that it is hyping up the main event at a big pay-per-view kind of maybe warranted it being in the main event. Although I do feel like you said, you quipped to me during the show, they probably could have saved this for next week.
Well, with the match, the main event, again, it would have been good to give Storm the main event. Nice finish, The fact this finish, yes, you're giving the champion the main event slot, but it's still, again, not the way I would have finished it. Yeah, we gave a big match that everyone wanted to hear. We have Roode versus Storm in a cage match, a Lockdown. It's going to be a big match, but at the same time, that could have been a bit of a surprise or a good opener for next week.
Possibly. You had Roode beating down Sting. So we know what this is leading to now, don't we? They're going to have a match at Victory Road, aren't they? We know it's the way they did it against All Odds, the opener, and this now. That's going to be the main event against All Odds. At Victory Road. The
way they keep having their in-ring time and their fight against each other, you can actually see that Sting's eventually going to request a match to finish it all. But again, it's a match that people don't want to see. No. But it's going to be Sting putting over Roode, giving him his victory win, and that's the only benefit I can see. But the way it finished, I'm just not for it, not my opinion.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from there, but I mean, the way I look at it, this is kind of a massive thing for TNA, so they could have saved it for another show, but they managed to get a lot done in this show, which was a positive for me. I'll go more into that into my overall thoughts, which we'll go on to now.
Yeah.
Don't want to see Bobby Roode versus Sting, but it'll be a filler feud, like you said, probably putting Roode over, so that could be a positive. Overall thoughts on this show, NJ, your opinion?
Again, with the opener, it flowed. I was really liking how the opening went. The Eric Young segment, I just threw out the window.
Short though.
The knockouts and the X Division weren't the best in my opinion, but they did have meaning to them, leading on to whatever's going to come next. And the Bischoff thing was short. So overall, the show flowed correctly. It gave us stuff to look forward to and good matches tonight. So I'm quite satisfied with what we got. Yeah,
I mean, the show flowed very well. And like I said, they seem to get a lot done. They've hyped for Lockdown. They've got the main event announced. They're hyping stuff for Victory Road. Even though we didn't hear too much, we didn't hear any mention of the pay-per-view, but we can see from what they're doing, they're hyping stuff up. They've hyped stuff up for next week. They followed on from the pay-per-view quite well. So, the show was pretty good. I mean, it seemed to do a lot. Even though like the Battle Royal, the X Division action wasn't the best, we opened up with a really good match, and the main event wasn't as good as I thought it would be. But TNA did manage to get a lot done in their show this week, and I've got to give them props on that. And the show flowed very well. So for me, it was looking at it from every angle, and not just like a match quality angle or a segment quality angle. They did a lot tonight in the show, and I do feel that warrants a B for me, or a B+ if I really want to be generous. It was a good show.
Well, the way I'm going to give it is because of the few things that we picked in this thing that could have been done better. It really not affected me big time, but it did let me down in a few areas. So I'm going to give it a strong B.
Strong B. I mean, TNA has been very consistent with their shows lately, haven't they? We can't praise TNA enough. They're really giving me something to look forward to on a Thursday night. Put it that way. Right then, so make sure you guys get your thoughts on this TNA Impact Wrestling show down in the comment section below. And of course, make sure you check out that interview with Olivencia on the TNA Swerve website as well. And, well, the final word usually comes from NJ. So why change something that has worked for so long?
Oh, people look at my big arms, you know, that's what I call, yeah. But anyway, style. Now I'm going to say this, people. Thank you for tuning for another video by us, The British Fist. Till next time, people, from Mr. Parkin and me, NJ. Hope you enjoyed TNA. Leave your comment section below, and goodbye.